Abuse is never okay, but when you're already struggling with your mental health, whether you know it or not, it can feel even more disorienting, harder to recognize, and much more difficult to escape. Many people with mental health conditions like ADHD, autism, OCD, BPD, CPTSD, anxiety, or depression don't even realize how much more vulnerable they are to abuse. Sometimes they don't realize they're struggling with a mental illness at all. At Psych2Go, we're committed to creating mental health content that is trauma-informed, inclusive, and rooted in compassion. Our mission is to offer not just education, but a sense of safety, connection, and validation, especially for those who feel unseen or misunderstood. In this video, we want to explore why abuse hits different when you're already mentally ill, and how to better support yourself or someone you love. When mental illness masks and magnifies the abuse. Abuse doesn't always look loud or dramatic. When you're already living with mental illness, the signs of abuse can slip under the surface, disguised as survival, silence, or emotional overload. You might apologize constantly, even when you've done nothing wrong. Shut down in conflict, not because you don't care, but because your nervous system is overwhelmed. Tiptoe around someone's mood changes and try to prevent them from getting upset. Feel like you have to over-explain everything just to be heard or believed. Take responsibility for everyone else's emotions while hiding your own. Stop reaching out because you're too exhausted to explain what's going on. Forget things, lose track of time, or feel like you're floating outside of your body. Feel like you're too much, too broken, or too complicated to be loved safely. These signs can exist even in loving relationships, but when abuse is present, they often deepen. The fear gets sharper, the shame gets louder, and the symptoms you've worked so hard to manage can start to take over again. Because when someone already struggles with their mental health, abuse doesn't just hurt, it reinforces everything they've been trying not to believe about themselves. When you're already struggling, red flags are harder to see. For those living with mental illness or neurodivergencies, your mind already questions your reality. That makes it harder to recognize when something's wrong, especially when the abuse echoes your own self-doubt. Mental health conditions often come with symptoms like low self-esteem, people-pleasing tendencies, emotional dysregulation, or difficulty trusting your own perception. These can all make it easier for abusers to manipulate, isolate, or control you. For example, people with BPD may fear abandonment so deeply that they'll tolerate mistreatment to avoid being alone. Autistic individuals may miss social cues or have been conditioned to mask their discomfort. People with CPTSD may feel familiarity in chaos and confuse it. Abusers know how to use your struggles against you. They might call you crazy, too sensitive, or claim you're the problem. And if you've already been gaslit by your own brain or by others in your past, it can feel impossible to tell what's true anymore. People with mental illnesses or neurodivergencies often long to be understood. So when someone finally makes them feel safe, seen, and accepted, they open up. Sometimes they overshare, not for attention, but for connection, for relief, for love. And that's what makes this kind of betrayal so devastating. Abusers don't always dismiss your struggles. Sometimes they ask about them. They listen. They lean in. They make you believe your story is safe with them. But for some, that safety is just strategy. They'll use what you shared to cut deeper later. Your trauma becomes ammunition. Your diagnosis becomes a weapon. What once felt like intimacy turns into manipulation. You're paranoid. You always do this. You're overreacting again, just like your last breakdown. This is why no one else will ever love you. It's one of the cruelest forms of gaslighting because it uses your truth against you. And if you've been dismissed or misunderstood before, if you spent years wondering whether your emotions were valid, it's easy to believe them, even when your gut says something is wrong. You're not wrong. You should feel safe and be safe to be vulnerable. And that's the point of this conversation, not to scare you, but to empower you. There are safe people. There are spaces where your story will be held with care, not twisted into control. They may not always be easy to find, but they exist, and they matter so much more than the ones who harmed you. You deserve to be met with understanding, not manipulation. With support, not suspicion. This isn't about shutting down, it's about staying awake and protecting your peace as you heal. Mental illness can trap you in a cycle. Fear of abandonment, shame, hopelessness. For many with BPD, CPTSD, or depression, staying can feel safer than starting over. That doesn't mean they don't want to leave. It means they don't know how to survive it yet. Someone with ADHD might become more forgetful or scattered from the stress. Someone with OCD may find their compulsion spiraling. Depression deepens, anxiety spikes. And for someone with CPTSD, each abusive interaction may reinforce the trauma, making healing feel even further away. It's not just the abuse, it's how it compounds everything you're already carrying. Abuse can start mental illness or collapse the progress you've made. Even if you were making progress, abuse can flood your system with stress and trauma all over again. It can lead to a new diagnosis or a resurgence of old ones. Abuse can worsen compulsions, deepen depression, increase anxiety, or cause emotional dysregulation to spiral. If you've been working on your mental health, it can feel like you're suddenly back at square one. Being mentally ill or neurodivergent doesn't mean the abuse was your fault. You don't have to be stable to deserve kindness. You don't have to be healed to deserve safety. Your symptoms may make life harder, but they never justify mistreatment. We're so grateful you're here, and we're rooting for you. And if you'd like to see more content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos from Psych2Go. Please share this with someone who might need it, whether it's a survivor, a friend, a therapist, or an ally. And if this video resonated with you, we hope it gave you language for what you're feeling, maybe even a little relief in knowing you're not the only one. You deserve relationships where your pain isn't used against you, where your diagnosis doesn't become a weapon, where your healing is met with patience and safety. Abuse doesn't just hurt in obvious ways. When you're already struggling with mental illness, it can distort your reality, deepen your wounds, and make healing feel impossible. But the truth is, you're not too much, you're not broken, and you're not alone. If you've made it this far, thank you for being here. If you're supporting someone through this, remember, they don't need fixing. They need to be believed, supported, and loved without pressure and without shame. The most powerful things you can offer are patience, belief, and non-judgmental presence. And before we go, we're excited to share that Psych2Go is launching a wellness shop online. If you'd like to be among the first to know when it goes live and explore items designed to support your healing, check the description for details. Whether you came to better understand yourself or someone you care about, thanks again for being here, and we'll see you soon.